Hey guys, Minigun here, bringing you another 1v1 replay analysis against KoMA on Cloud Kingdom PvT. Alright, so Cloud Kingdom's a pretty balanced map for both Protoss and Terran. I don't think it's too much in the favor of either. I like the map though. It can be good to take a fast third and so on. Some good choke points for Protoss. Here I'm just relieving some frustration. The game before was close positions on Entombed, and generally close positions are bad for both Zerg and Protoss. Not so much for Terran, but that's just because the way their mechanics work. For Protoss, usually the bigger the map, the better it is PvT. Just because with our warp gate mechanic, it's better to actually not warp in consistently. You want to be getting all your infrastructure, all your tech, forges and stuff up before you start warping in. So the bigger the map, the more time you have to get that stuff up. And it doesn't really hurt the Protoss pushes because, again, the warp gate mechanic. Alright, so I do like to scout on 9 because seeing if they have gas or not is extremely important because it changes how you play significantly. If they do have a gas, you have to watch out for 2-Raxes, you have to watch out for 1-on-1, Hellion drops, that kind of thing. And their gas timing should tell you what they're doing. But just want to harass as much as possible to make him waste mining time as well. Checking those gas geysers, getting my own stuff. Okay, always 3 Chrono Boost on the Nexus unless you're doing like a super crazy all-in. So this game, I'm going to be trying out a new build I haven't tried out too much. I actually see Leia do it, formerly Root Puck, and it looks like a fun build. I'm not sure how good it is against, the best Terrans, but it seems like a pretty fun build. So I'm going to grab my second gas. If you're doing a 1-gate FE, you always want to get that Zealot, because if you don't, they'll engineering bay block your natural. And it takes forever to kill. So always want to get that Zealot if you're planning to expand. So from his point of view, it looks like I could be doing a just slower 1-gate FE, just with a lot of gas, so maybe I'm teching faster than normal. I could be doing the Blink Stalker all in. I could be rushing DTs. And what I'm actually going for is Colossi Warp Prism drops, which is probably the one he expects the least, and rightfully so. So we can get that Stalker out to deny scouting information. Okay, start that Robo ASAP. Okay, you want to be super active with your Stalkers. He's only going to have Marines, so map control is mine. Should be making a second Stalker because I have to deny both pathways. That way he can't tell if I have an expansion or not. It's just macroing up. So one Stalker on the watchtower, one watching the other way. Gonna get that Robo Bay right on time because when you're doing builds like this, timings are really important to get down. There's that SCV. I don't want to see if I have an expansion or not. So hopefully I can deny in time, but looks like I didn't. But this actually looks a lot like a Blink Stalker all-in, just because of the fast 2 Stalkers and the fact that I don't have an expansion. Alright, so getting that Warp Prism, because I have nothing else to get while I'm waiting for that Colossi tech. I'm going to be expanding fairly shortly. Okay, all our Chrono Boost goes to the Robo, obviously. Unfortunately, he had pretty much the best scan ever there. Here I went for Colossi range, but I think Warp Prism Speed should be the first one you get. Just because range won't help you get out of a situation where he's stimming and trying to pick off your Warp Prism. So yeah, should have gotten speed first, but not the biggest deal, I suppose. So just waiting for that Colossi to come out. Waiting. There we go. Alright. So generally it's best to attack the main first, because their army should be positioned outside their natural. Let one sentry just for defense, because you never know what he might do. I got one stalker on his watchtower now, so I can see if he moves out, because I'm actually weak, so if he moves out, I actually need to bring the Colossi back to defend. And if I don't, I'll probably die. So it's really important to have map vision when you're doing stuff like this. But generally, Protoss needs map vision a lot anyway. Alright, so I'm going to start doing damage. Right. Just going to start hitting stuff. The stem shouldn't quite be finished yet, so it's important I do some damage. As you see, he brought up his expansion because he thought it was a Blink Stalker all-in, which is the correct response against that. Alright, so range is now done, so I can start poking. Just want to damage units as much as possible. Alright, still macroing back at home. Killing off this bunker. Since I did take such a late expansion, it is important I do damage. But yeah, this is why I think Warp Prism Speed is a better option, because this could have gotten really bad, but I did manage to get out, so it's good. So I was actually working in some units to go save my Colossi in case I couldn't get out. But Warp Prism Speed is pretty fast, so that was fine. So this is pretty much the optimal situation when you see Marines like this. It's one shot and they just die. So that was obviously super cost effective. It's still making Colossi back at home. I'm gonna go up for more poking. Forcing stems, always good. And just getting around that time where I can't harass much more. Vikings should be out soon. Just getting upgrades, should be getting more gateways soon. Okay, you want armor if you're planning to transition into Charge a Lot Templar, and then weapons if you're actually planning to stick with Colossi. But double forge is also always good. It's become a lot more standard. Alright, so I do see him pushing out. It's always good to notice in advance. But I've got so many Colossi, I'm really wanting to catch this mid-map. Maybe trap some units. Because 3 Colossi is a lot to have out on this time, so he shouldn't be suspecting this many. I'm thinking he thought this was a lot more all-in than it actually was. Alright, so taking my third, pretty standard time. So when you're high on Colossi count but low on gateway, you're wanting to mainly poke and force stems, because with good spread they can actually do a lot of damage. So I didn't get observer. I do think that's a mistake, obviously. You should always have one. If not two, if not three. These drops can be pretty scary in the hands of really good Terrans. When you're going this class heavy too, you always want blink, so you can pick off those Vikings really easy. You want pylons spread out. So I am getting my first observer. Okay, just want to continue with upgrades. Charge right away after blink. Should be getting a Templar Archive soon, unless I'm playing to all in. So I want to keep my stalkers positioned correctly. Okay, Guardian Shield should go up. Bit of an awkward position there. Okay, want to focus fire those Vikings, but there's just a bit too many. If there's an overwhelming amount of Vikings for your Colossi, you generally don't even want to focus on picking them off. Generally it's best to go after the ground army. So I did get my Colossi count reset, but I'm going to Templars. That's not the biggest of deals. Okay, when you go into Templar charge lot, it's really cheap. So you want to be adding on more gateways, and just then I checked for his third, saw no third, so no third at the 15-minute mark is obviously all in. Even at the 12-minute mark, it's pretty much all in. But this game's a bit different just because of how I opened, so everything's kind of a little bit later than normal because we're playing on lower economies than we'd normally have if it was a more standard game. So 15-minute mark, no third isn't super late, but it is late. So I just need to cut probes and mass unit. Let's get these Templar out. Don't really like making Colossi here. I think I am. I think Immortal would be better. Immortals aren't actually that bad until EMP comes into play. And when the armies are small, Immortals are actually pretty good. It's a good backbone for your army when the charge lots eventually melt. Just massing units because I know he doesn't have a third. Here's coming for a final attack, see SCVs. And here I say stop because he pretty much always all-ins me, either off 2 base or 3 base or whatever. But yeah, he doesn't really have ghosts because he has no economy. Oh, I did make an Immortal, good, okay. So yep, Immortals are good. So here I'm just waiting for the inevitable attack. It's really important to be positioned correctly though. So I've got one observer covering the left side and positioning my army on the right side. Now I'm moving up. Looks like he's gonna go for it. That was a pretty bad storm. These were much better. So Guardian Shield always goes up first. And then you just spam storms everywhere. And you've got a lot of storms. I see a lot of people try and do perfect storms. It's really best just to spam them in the general area. If you try to get the perfect storms, you can end up waiting too long, and by waiting too long, too much of your army dies before you actually get the storms off. So it's better just to go ahead and throw them down, even if you can't get perfect ones. But yeah, that's about it for that game. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm gonna give a shout out to the sponsors: Sound Blaster, Game of Gamers, QPad, PNY. And yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to do a few more. Hopefully you learned something. And that's it for now, I suppose. Thanks for watching.